Thanks, Lauren. You know, after those testimonies from Danny and oh my gosh, Emily, I just feel like I don't even have to talk, but here I am. I want to thank you, Lauren, for just being so gracious about emceeing this event for us this evening and every year as you've done now. For several years, you do such a great job at it. You are so gracious in your willingness to do this, sacrificing Hamilton. Glad you got to go. She told you all a little bit about herself, but for those of you who don't know, Lauren is a UNL alum. And I knew her during all of her undergraduate time when she was here. And she chose UNL. We're very grateful she chose UNL because she grew up in College Station, Texas. And so I know exactly, ooh. So we're extremely grateful she became a Husker and not an Aggie. Yeah. She was a true Husker, too. She was a Husker hostess for almost her whole time of college, right? Hosting recruits, people up in the suites. She was a great diplomat for the campus, welcoming people here when she was at UNL. And, after she graduated, Lauren worked at Focus in various capacities, first as a missionary and then on their staff, managing other missionaries. Lived out in Philadelphia, right? Philadelphia, yeah. And we're very glad that she came back to Lincoln and that she considers Lincoln home and not College Station. When she came back, she worked for a number of years at the Nebraska Catholic Conference, did a great job there, was treasured for her work that she did to contribute to the great work of the Catholic Conference there. And Lauren's had several changes in her life in this past year. She is now she has a new job. She is the state director for the American Federation for Children, and she is bringing that work to the state of Nebraska, which is awesome. She bought her first home in August, and she also now has a new dog, a beagle named Whiskey, which is so good. Yeah. I did not tell her to name the dog Whiskey. I may have taught her to drink whiskey, but I did not tell her to name the dog Whiskey. So, and she's going to kill me for this, but I'm just going to say it anyway. She's not currently dating anybody, so if anybody has any ideas, come on. Yeah, she took a drink on that one. I got her. It's all good. During the past 15 years or so, we have been blessed with a dynamic group of Catholic men and women who have served on our leadership council, sharing their insights, their wisdom, their encouragement, their money. They've been amazing. And one of our members, Joe Seelig, very sadly lost his lovely wife, Patty, this past week. She died on Tuesday morning. And she died from complications from encephalitis and then developed sepsis. And she was buried this morning from St. Joseph's Church here in Lincoln. She's only 63 years old, really sad. And so I was so glad I was able to be there with Joe for the funeral and the burial out at Calvary. And I just want us to take a moment and say a prayer for Patty and for Joe and their family. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now at the hour of our death. Amen. Thank you very much. So when Father McCabe gave the homily, he talked about Patty. She loved her grandkids. And they had a pantry in their house where she kept all these treats for, all the grandkids, so where she spoiled them. And we're standing there at the cemetery, and we're waiting for everything to start, and Father McCabe says to Finn, who's like 4, says, Finn, do you think Grandpa knows where the pantry is in the house to give you treats? And he's like, he doesn't know where that is. I said, Finn, Grandpa will figure it out, and he will stock the pantry. You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. I would be remiss if I didn't give a huge shout out to our staff at the Newman Center and our missionaries for their dedication and their hard work. I feel extremely blessed to work with this team of people that work at the Newman Center. I know I'm biased, but they're the best. They're just the best. Not only did we come through COVID with a boost in our ministry, more students involved than ever, but we're also more financially stable than we've ever been. I did not have to dodge any bill collectors this year, calling for past bills for an Center. And we actually paid down $1.5 million on our debt in this past year, which is awesome. And so they work really, really hard. They really work hard. And so staff, missionaries, please stand for just some moment of recognition. Thank you. Some of them are in the back, feverishly counting their envelopes. Some of them are here, but gosh, I'm just very, very, very blessed by their work. I want to also, is Patrick Callahan, are you here tonight? I don't know if I think he was going to come by the weekend. We have a new staff member, a director of our institute, Patrick Callahan, who came to us. He actually started a similar institute of ours at the University of Kansas. I'm really glad we got him to leave Kansas and come to Nebraska. And he's doing a great job so far. Our students are really just loving him and are grateful for his presence in just a few months that he's been here. So I really want to welcome him onto our team, our staff. Welcome also Lieutenant Governor Foley and Susan. You're always here. You're awesome. And Celeste, I know Jeff wanted to come as well, but he couldn't get home in time. So our elected officials, we pray for you because we know you're in a battle every day of your lives as well. So be assured of our prayers. Thank you all for just being here, and thank you to those who are watching from home. There's some who are not here but watching from home tonight. And thank you for your continued support. It's greatly and deeply appreciated. A special welcome, as Lauren did, for Bishop Conley, Bishop Leskowitz, Bishop Hannafeld from Grand Island for being here. It means so much to have your presence. Thank you, Danny, and thank you, Emily, for just great testimonies, great stories. We're so proud of you, guys. We are so proud of you. You know, earlier this week, I met with a young man who's in Phi Cap, and quite frankly, I mean, we have they're mostly all Catholic guys in Phi Cap, but some of them are more committed to their faith than others, and that's okay. And it's, you know, we're fine with that. We work with everybody who wants to be a part of it. And a young man contacted me and asked to meet with me for spiritual direction this week, and I thought to myself, I can't believe he texted me and asked me to come to me and talk to me about spiritual direction. Like, he's just not seemingly that type of kid. So when he's in my office the other day, I just asked him, I said, what happened? Did something happen to cause you to like reach out to me? Because I'll be honest with you, I never would have expected you to reach out to me. And he said, well, yeah. He said, I've been meeting with Danny Fisher, and I'm in his Bible study. And he encouraged me to reach out to you for spiritual direction. I was like, this is really how the Newman Center works and has as successful as it is, not because of me, but these incredible students and missionaries. And so that's just one story, another story about Danny, what he does and what he's done. We're going to miss you, Danny, like crazy, but we are so excited for you to begin your work as a focused missionary. And, you know, he's just graduating from college, and he's changing lives already. He already is. He's just fantastic. Back to our bishops. We're very blessed in this great state of Nebraska. I want to tell this story because I think we maybe take it for granted a little bit. Because we have 3 bishops who are serving us in the state of Nebraska who are very committed to young people and to campus ministry. And that's not always true everywhere you go. We've been blessed with the encouragement and support of our project with Bishop Bruskowitz and then with Bishop Conley in so many incredible ways. Obviously, we would never be where we are without your support. Omaha, I think I just saw Susan. Susan, are you? Hey. Omaha has been incredibly blessed with Archbishop Lucas supporting and establishing the JP2 Newman Center up at UNO. I was just there in October for their first fundraiser event, which was awesome. Susan did an amazing job. Susan, please stand. She's Jude's counterpart at UNO. Susan Ganea. Thank you. They have great stories happening at UNO. It was such a great night to be with you guys, to be on there. And I was in Kearney last spring in April with Father Hoke for a benefit that they had for the University of Nebraska at Kearney Newman Center. And we're super excited because they are working on plans. I know you are, Bishop Hannafelt and Father Hoke and your team, to figure out how to expand the work of the Newman Center at the University of Nebraska Kearney. And so there's this huge commitment in this state of Nebraska for campus ministry, which is super, it's not to be taken for granted. In fact, it's in my mind, like these bishops, like they get it. They get it. They have the vision, and because of that, we have so many students who are not only going to fill the pews of our parishes in the future, but they're going to step up and they're going to lead. I mean, you listen to these students tonight; they're incredible. What they're going to do is going to be beautiful. The legacy of the faith is going to continue because they're going to step up to that. And so, gosh, I am so grateful to all of the benefactors who've been so generous to us, who make that possible. Like I know enough stories from around the country of like other places where young people are, they might have a young small concentrated group of young people that go maybe to the cathedral parish, or they go, they hang out together. But we have so many young people in all of our parishes in Lincoln and are stepping up and leading and taking roles of leadership. We're in a good spot. We're in a really good spot. I'm coming to the end of my term of service, not here necessarily, on a board that I serve on. Got you. I practiced that last night. It's all good. But I serve on a national board for campus ministry. And my friend, Father Eric Nielsen, who's the chaplain at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, convinced me to become a part of this board, which I really didn't want to do when he talked to me about it. And when I joined this board, this organization, CCMA, I think they were going like in this direction, backwards. They were bankrupt. It was bad. It was like, I had never had anything to do with them before because I didn't think their vision was, it wasn't good. And after now, 6 years later, we are moving in the direction of this direction. Maybe this direction, but almost this direction. It's like turning a huge ship around. We have a great director who lives in Pennsylvania, and he's the director of our organization. And so it's an organization that gives resources and support to all these people in campus ministry, especially people who can't afford to bring a focus team to their campus, and they're struggling and they're trying to figure things out, and which is part of the reason why I joined their board. But we just had a meeting a couple weeks ago in Chicago, and we were meeting at Loyola University for 3 days. And I can't tell if the picture is up. When I was there, by the way, somebody saw this, I got to meet Sister Jean. Now, if you follow March Madness, you know who that woman is, right? Sister Jean is the longest-standing college team chaplain of any in the country. And so we were in our first morning of meetings, and when we took a break, the campus minister at Loyola said, Sister Jean's in her office next door if you want to meet her. I was like, yeah. My older brothers go nuts over her every March. They're talking about Sister Jean. So I went in. She's 102 years old. She comes into her office 4 times a week. I mean, I was just blown away by her. She lived in a dormitory on the campus at Loyola until she was 97, when she broke her hip. She was mad as heck when they wouldn't let her move back into the dorm. So she's in an assisted living care facility now. During the pandemic, she called the players on the Loyola basketball team every day to check in on them. She's like a mom to them. And when we were in her office, she had this big stack of files on her desk. And I asked the campus nurse, I'm like, she's 102, like, what's in those files? Like, what could she be doing? And she said, oh, those are scouting reports. She likes to read scouting reports. Yeah. I was wearing a mask, and I thought, well, I shouldn't take my mask off. And she looks at me and she says, Father, you should take your mask off for the picture. It's okay. It's okay. I'm not worried. She's hilarious. She's amazing. But anyway, I had the opportunity when I was at that meeting to tell all the other people on our board about the investment that's being made in campus ministry in the state of Nebraska. And they were blown away. I was telling them this about the resources, the support, the money, the generosity of people of this great state of Nebraska and what's been accomplished already and what's going to be accomplished. And it's so unusual. They're like, that story needs to be told more. Like, that doesn't exist anywhere, really, that we know of. And so it's true that I agree with everything that they said. And for 6 years, I've been kind of like banging the drum on this board and with all of our members that you have to, if you're going to work in campus ministry, you're going to have to do good work that brings about significant change or significance to the lives of the young people in your apostolate. And if you do that, people will take notice and they will step up and they will support you. I'm not kidding here when I say this. For such a long time, campus ministry in so many places was a joke. I mean, that sounds like a harsh criticism, but it's true. But the good news is that's changing in a lot of places in this country right now, and it's getting much better. But when I come home from those meetings, I have this renewed sense of gratitude every time in my heart for the generosity of the people of this great state of Nebraska. You guys are incredible. You really are. And I promise you, it is making a significant difference here in our state. I'm in year 23 of working and laboring in this apostolate. As I've told so many of you, this is not what I ever envisioned my priesthood was going to be about. I'm so glad it is now. Like you heard Danny and Emily, like those are the people I get to be around every day, people like that. Hello, I'm pretty fortunate. And I've witnessed the life of faith come alive in so many young people during their times at UNL. And they date, they get married, they start a family, they become active in their parishes, they step up into leadership positions in their parishes. And I promise you, if we keep this going and we keep trying to do our best for God, I know and I'm confident that the Lord will bless it. He will bless it. He's shown me that and proven that to me over and over again. And the faith in our parishes in this great state will thrive for years to come if we keep at this. And we keep raising up young people who are going to be faithful to the Lord. At the beginning of this week, knowing that HuskerCatholic Live was happening tonight, I thought, well, I wonder what bomb is going to drop this week. Because every year for HuskerCatholic Live, it seems like we have some bomb that kind of just drops, kind of tries to throw us off. And it came. I mean, I don't really want to talk about this, but it's like the elephant in the room, right? So, as we all know, the Attorney General's report came out yesterday morning. And I know this is difficult for all of you. I get it. I really do. Do we have to hear about this again? Do we have to hear about this more? And those reports, they're incredibly distressing for us as priests as well, where we know those things never, ever should have happened. And we have a great sense of remorse, and we are committed to prayers of repentance for what our brothers have done. We talked about that yesterday as priests, our presbyterate at the seminary, that we have a responsibility, even though we haven't been guilty ourselves of those crimes, we have a responsibility to be repentant for what has happened. And our hearts are filled with great sorrow by what's happened. I assure you of that. And we're continually grateful that you continue to support us and encourage us on. When I was in O'Hare Airport 2 weeks ago for that meeting, which was a nightmare of an experience with United Airlines, by the way, but my flight got canceled. But this guy, random guy, and this has not the first time it happened to me. In fact, I ran into Bishop Hannafeld going home because I had to rebook on Southwest, and he was going home on the same flight. The next morning, after I'd been up kind of all night trying to figure that out. But this random guy just came up to me and said, "Father, thank you for what you do. Thank you for saying yes to the priesthood. We're praying for you. Keep up doing the good work." I have no idea who it was. And that happens. It's happened to me several times in airports. I don't know if it's happened to any of our bishops or other priests, but I've had that happen many, many times. There were a couple of other things that happened this week in my world that kind of weren't so great either. But you know what? That's okay. It's expected. If you're going to work with college students, and for all the college students who are here tonight, who are at the Nimitz Center, I love you guys. I hope you know that. I do. I love you with my whole heart. But if you work with college students, you will be edified, and you will also be disappointed. It happens. You know, several years ago, a gentleman came to see me, and he said, "You know what, Father, your students are so great. We'd love to have them help us in our work with the poor here in the city of Lincoln." And I said, "Okay, I think we're willing to help figure that out, as long as you promise me that you will not come back to me and wag your finger in my face when they don't do something that you would hope they do, or they don't follow through in the way that you think they should. Because that's my story for 23 years now. Amazing. And what we're doing at the Nimitz Center is a learning and growing process. You know, I mean, once in a while I'll get a phone call. In fact, I got one this week. "Well, I can't believe those Nimitz Center kids did this." Like, something that wasn't so great. I'm like, "Well, welcome to my world." Like, that's, you know, they screw up, you know. In fact, if I had a dime for every time I sat with a student and said, "You know, this thing that happened, it doesn't have to define your life, you know, there's a better path for you, we can figure this out, like, you don't have to be defined by this horrible failure that you had in your life." Like it happens, it just does, it's just part of life, right? And when they're trying to work through that and figure it all out, it can be very confusing for them. Like, I understand that. That's not lost on me. If I didn't understand that, I wouldn't be here after still 23 years later. I've been checked out a long time ago. "God, give me another assignment." But it's a process. It's a learning process. And, but I've seen so much goodness. But we also see these students who they want to be good, but they struggle. And they're trying to figure out their path, they're trying to figure out the right way, and sometimes they just don't know how to do it, which is why we're there. I know that's why we're there. I was reading some focused student testimonies the other day, just trying to get some ideas for things to talk about tonight, and there was this one particular young woman, I don't know her, but she said she had this experience in her college that she went to a Sikh conference. She had this incredible experience. She came home just on fire for her faith and wanting to kind of share that with others. And so she met with this girl who was a friend of hers from her sorority, and she said, I want to tell you about this. I had this incredible experience, and I really want you to come with me next year to the Next Seat conference. And the girl she was meeting with said to her, well, thanks for asking me, but you know what? I'm really not that Catholic, and I really don't even think I want to be. And that happens all the time on college campuses. You can trust me. Our missionaries, our student leaders, they make invitations all the time, and they get rejected a lot of the time. People's like, no, I don't want to do that. No. What amazes me and inspires me is how they persevere. Like they don't give up. They keep trying, which is like the key to really doing successful campus ministry, in my opinion. That you don't throw in the towel, and you keep inviting, and you keep, trying to get people to come. You got to have something good to offer them when they do come, which we've got that figured out. But getting them to come is half the battle. It really is. Another young woman who is a UNL alumnus, I read her testimony, and their name wasn't on it. I was like, I know who this is. This is Amanda. And she was talking about her experience living in a sorority here at UNL. And she also had this kind of life-changing experience with her faith. And then this kind of confusion set in when she was trying to well, this is awesome, but then I'm also still living this life in Greek life. Nothing against all the Greeks who are here tonight. I love you guys too. But she said, I had this experience. I went to this social event for our sorority that we were having with the fraternity, and she said, you know what? This is an exact quote. The last thing young people wanted to talk about while getting hammered at the Bikers and Babes theme party, I love that, Bikers and Babes theme party, was their spiritual life, or going to church, or joining a Bible study. Like they have no interest in that. And what I love about Amanda is that not only should she latch on to her faith and become strong in it, she's one of the founders of one of the great components of Focus called Focus Greek, which is huge. Right, Alex? Yeah, it's awesome. We have all these Greek students at UNL and so many other campuses. And I think I've told this story before. So when Focus was early on at UNL, there's this young guy who was Greek who said, Father, I think we need our own Bible studies because we're Greek, and we're just not like students in the dorm. So we kind of need our own study. And I was like, I said to him, I'm like, I really don't think you're that special. Sorry. I did wake up to the reality that because they perceive themselves to be different, that we probably should reach out to them as Greeks. And I bought into it. But they're really not any different than any other kids. And they really just are not. They're the same struggle, same things. But what amazes me is how our missionaries and our student leaders persevere. They keep inviting. They keep getting no's, but they don't give up. In fact, I think the missionaries will agree with me. We have some of these times celebratory moments when a student will come in, a student leader, and they'll talk about how they've been trying to walk with a student for like a year, and they've been getting no's and rejection, and then finally they invite one of these students to something, and they say yes. And they run to the Nimbus Center to share that good news. And we're always like, you're awesome. Way to go. You're killing it. That's so good that they persevered in that. And that's what we do at the Nimbus Center every single day. We keep inviting young people to experience the joy that comes from being a disciple of Jesus Christ. We invite them again and again, and we do it with intentionality, and we do it with love. We don't, coerce. The faith is always invitational, right? Coercion doesn't work anyway, but you keep inviting. And as donors and benefactors, You guys make that possible for us to do. And when they finally say yes, and their lives are changed, it makes all the difference in the world. So I can't thank you enough for that. It's not lost on me, the importance of being able to do that. And we couldn't do it without you. God bless you all. I love you.